Welcome to the Cameron Masland Mansion here at Kings Gap Environmental Education Center. This self-guided tour will lead you through the beautiful rooms of the first floor and eventually bring you to the terrace, where you will enjoy breathtaking views. Enjoy your time in the mansion and make sure you pause this recording when directed. We will begin the tour here in the foyer. The mansion has gone through 3 different periods of ownership. In the early 1900s, James Cameron was traveling on horseback across the Cumberland Valley and decided to build a summer home here on top of this mountain. In 1906, construction of the mansion began and was complete in 1908. Mr. Cameron purchased approximately 2,700 acres surrounding the mansion. After Mr. Cameron's death in 1949, his estate passed to his stepdaughter, who sold it to the Masland and the Ritter families. The Masland family bought the mansion and about half of the land. They opened the Masland Guest House. In 1973, Kings Gap was purchased by the Commonwealth through an agreement with the Nature Conservancy. Fortunately, since then, most of the original acreage has been purchased by the state, allowing you to visit it today. While you are in the foyer, please take a close look at the entrance door and walls. They are both made of American chestnut. Until remodeling in 2000, the stain here was almost black. It was lightened, so the grain is now visible. The original dark color denoted the high social status of the Camerons. In the entranceway between the foyer and the living room, you will notice the 2 oversized pocket doors. A button on these doors can be pushed to release a handle. You can find these doors separating all of the original rooms on the first floor. Please watch your step as you descend into the living room. You will want to gaze out the large windows that overlook the terrace. The large central fireplace is also a main focal point. High above the fireplace, you will see 2 scallops at the top corners. This is typical of the arts and crafts period of the early 1900s. During the Cameron era, there was an elk head placed above the fireplace. This helped to create the gentleman's hunting lodge image. The elk head was removed at some point, possibly around the time James married Anna Scott Robinson in 1927. We do not have a picture of Mr. and Mrs. Cameron displayed in the mansion, but we have a picture of them here in the video. The Masland family purchased the mansion to use for corporate meetings and events for their local carpet company. They also used it to showcase the latest carpet styles. Most of the floors have since been restored to their original elegance, including the brick floor you see here. There is a story that at one point, the leaders of Chrysler, Ford, and Chevy met with the Maslands right here to discuss installing carpets in their car models for the first time. This marked the transition from Masland residential carpets to strictly automobile carpets. The Maslands added the basswood relief carved by Mary Abbott, a direct descendant of John Quincy Adams. As you can see, This carving depicts the natural environment here at King's Gap. How many plants and animals can you see? Now let's see how you did. The carving includes deer, squirrels, grouse, sassafras, rhododendron, ferns, and possibly a skunk. Walk towards the opposite end of the living room and watch your step as you travel into the library. Chestnut bookcases found in the library were originally stained black like in the foyer. They were also originally covered with swinging glass doors. The large oak desk was used by James Cameron. At this desk, James focused more on business than politics, unlike his father and grandfather, who were prominent government figures and investors. It is believed that James was more reserved due to a hearing impairment. His grandfather, Simon, was President Lincoln's Secretary of War, a U.S. Senator, and a founder of the Pennsylvania Republican Party. James's father, Donald, was President Grant's Secretary of War and a U.S. Senator as well. Above the desk and across the room are two black and white prints from the Masland era. They depict the decline of civilization in Italy. Another picture to look for is the Irish wolfhound. This was the Masland's dog named King, who was used as a mascot for their carpet company. Now take a look at the fireplace. The tiles were hand-painted by a lady named Margaret Blair during the Masland era. Each individual bird is an identifiable species. How many do you know? After you have explored the library, you will travel back through the living room, into the hall, the room with the large staircase. Please watch your step. You are now in the room known as the hall. This area was used for playing games such as cards. The light fixtures in this room are original to the Cameron era. However, the elevator is not original. It was added in 2000 to make the living room ADA accessible. Please proceed carefully up to the first stair landing. The china cabinet displays dishware from the Camerons on the top shelves and the Maslands on the bottom shelves. The custom-made Masland dishes are referred to as the King's Gap china. They show the ruffed grouse and mountain laurel, two of Pennsylvania's state symbols. The second floor of the mansion is only open for touring during special events, like our holiday open house. Please proceed back down the stairs and turn right into the formal dining room. Here in the dining room, please notice the ceiling moldings. They are not made of wood. They are actually plasterwork, done by Italian craftsmen. Also, notice some of the recessed ceiling squares are lower than the others. This was done to allow room for new utilities during the 2000 renovation. Take a closer look at the light fixtures, and you will notice what appear to be upside-down flamingos. We believe the lights may have been unintentionally positioned upside down. The yellow bricks inside the fireplace were manufactured by a brickyard in Mount Holly Springs. Above the fireplace, the oil painting shows the view from the terrace in autumn. It was painted by a Cuban refugee named Hugo de Soto. To the right is the swinging door to the kitchen. During the Cameron occupancy, the butler would stand behind a curtain in this doorway. Diners would summon the butler when needed. Take a closer look at the doorway frame to see a built-in button. The butler would press this button to summon kitchen staff and servants during meals. You will find these buttons throughout the mansion. Unfortunately, this tour does not include the kitchen. However, the kitchen is included during the 2 holiday open houses in December. Please proceed into the new addition by passing the fireplace on your right and continue straight into the new bedroom. This bedroom and its connecting suite were added to accommodate guests with disabilities. This area can be closed off to provide some privacy. This bedroom, as well as all of the other bedrooms in the mansion, are named after local landmarks. When you leave the bedrooms, you will turn left into the new dining room. But before you leave, pause the recording as you enjoy the view from these rooms. This dining room was added in 2000 and provides much more space than the original, which is needed for meetings and trainings that are currently held here. However, another added benefit of this room is the wonderful view. The 4 hanging photographs depict the 4 seasons here at Kings Gap. They were photographed by local artist Tony Zizzi. Please feel free to take some of your own photographs. When you are finished looking around, please proceed back out the main entrance and turn right onto the covered patio which leads to the terrace. The view here from the terrace provides an excellent panorama of the Cumberland Valley. If you look over at the mountain in the distance across the Cumberland Valley, you are looking at North Mountain. It is part of the main Appalachian mountain chain. However, Kings Gap sits on South Mountain, the northern terminus of the Blue Ridge Mountains. The Blue Ridge Mountains are a smaller mountain chain that extends from here to northern Georgia and are about 200 million years older than the main Appalachian mountain chain. Again, look at the ridge in the distance, and you will see that over time gaps in the mountain formed due to flowing streams. The same thing happened on this mountain, and is the reason why Kings Gap is called a gap. There is no record of exactly where the name King came from. The only documentation dates back to the 1700s, when there was a king family that lived at the base of the hill. During this time period, this area was considered the frontier of the colonies and was predominantly small family farms. In the 1800s, the mountains were clear-cut to provide charcoal for the local iron furnaces, like the one at nearby Pine Grove Furnace. It is hard to imagine that 500 million years ago, the land you see in front of you was completely covered by a shallow sea. Under this prehistoric sea, tube worms, called scolithos, tunneled into the sand. Proof of these organisms is evident in the rocks. If you look closely at the top of the stones on the terrace, next to the interpretive sign, you will see small striations. These are fossilized dwellings of the tube worms in quartzite. These fossils were formed because the sand at the bottom of the sea accumulated and compacted to become sandstone. The stone was later exposed to heat and pressure when the surrounding mountains were uplifted and formed the quartzite rock common throughout Kings Gap today. Afterward, two rock types predominated in this area: quartzite and limestone. Limestone was created from the remains of shells in the shallow sea. As it was exposed to water, it eroded, resulting in the valleys you see in front of you. The mountains are then a result of exposed quartzite, the same stone used to construct the mansion. Local farmers were paid to use their own horse and wagon to haul supplies to the construction site. Stonemasons were responsible for shaping and placing the stone blocks. To lift the blocks up to the roof, a pulley system powered by horses was most likely used. A portion of the terrace has a roof for providing shade and to serve as a porch for Mr. Cameron's bedroom. On the underside of this roof, you can see hardware on the ceiling and floor where shades were attached to provide relief from the setting sun. Now take a closer look at the windowsill underneath the roof. Here you can see exposed drill marks. These marks are considered errors because they were not hidden during construction. Please continue around to the front of the mansion. If you face the main entrance of the mansion, you will see a large glass staircase that was added during a remodel in 2000. This addition was required to meet fire regulations. Glass was used to maintain the feel of what the mansion looked like when James McCormick Cameron completed it in 1908. Other updates have been done to the exterior, including repainting the shutters and repointing all of the exterior stonework. Future renovations, such as installing Wi-Fi, will modernize the mansion while still respecting its historic integrity. This concludes the mansion tour, but please feel free to stroll through the garden or visit the Education Center. Thank you for visiting the Cameron Masland Mansion. We hope you enjoyed your visit. If you have any questions, please ask park staff or a mansion docent. Have a wonderful day.